As we continue with the theme of people who met with Jesus, today's message is a little bit different. Jesus was in the temple. However, the person that we're talking about today in today's message may not even have noticed Jesus' presence. Mark says that Jesus was sitting very near to what is sometimes called the treasury. That's the spot where people would deposit their contributions, their offerings, as they came into the temple for worship. It was like a box just as you entered. Jesus was looking at the crowds moving past him, placing their offerings into the offering box. We read it in Mark 12, verses 41 to 44. And there Jesus is described as watching people as they made their deposits. The word continues by saying that many rich people put in large amounts, but they were then followed by a lady who only popped in a couple of small coins. Now the value of those coins was negligible, but it was all that she had. It was then that Jesus called his disciples over and he told them what he had just observed. Jesus said that although this lady had only popped in a couple of small coins of negligible value, she had given so much more than all the others who had put in huge sums of money. Why? Well, Jesus went on to say that the wealthy folk who contributed very well from out of their surplus, they had it, whereas she had given all that she had and all that she had to live on. She had literally given everything. She may not have even noticed that Jesus was there that day in the temple, as I said earlier, but as I read this account, I can see that she had a heart that had been touched by the Lord well before this moment in time. We can say with certainty that Jesus saw her. Many have discovered that when our heart is touched, our hands respond. And when our hands respond, the door is opened for God to bless us. This lady was a widow and was very poor. She was living out her faith in God, and clearly she had a personal relationship with him. The account of this widow at the offering box is slightly out of keeping with the other people that Jesus meets with, because in this instance there is no interaction between Jesus and this lady. He knew her heart though, and he judged that he did not need to speak with her at that time. She's remembered in that old hymn penned by Francis Ridley Havergal. Take my silver and my gold, not a mite would I withhold. This widow gave everything that she had to live upon, everything that she had. And I reflect upon what that literally means, what it really means, I find it somewhat challenging. She made no provision for the next day, for tomorrow, as it were. She was trusting in God. Now, humanly speaking, this wasn't wisdom. It was just a foolish action to give it all away. Now, we're not called to follow her necessarily in giving everything, but in the sense that her action was a display of her faith, we may encounter life experiences where we are called to put our faith on the line. It is true that no real act of faith is ever unnoticed by God. In the eyes of those around her, she was insignificant, indeed probably unnoticed. But Jesus saw her and used her actions and her faith to show that she was a person of great significance and of immense value. Now, you may feel overlooked at this moment, but I can tell you that the Lord knows your heart and your desires. He knows your attitude. I want you to be encouraged today because you are not alone. He loves you unconditionally. He always does. I trust that you have a wonderful week, and it's a week full of blessings.